Back to the story now, and the Gauteng MEC for Education, Panyaza Lesufi, says the department will release a report on Friday outlining action to be taken against whoever is found to have been involved in Enoch Mpiamzi's death. Mpiamzi's lifeless body was recovered last week on Friday. He had gone missing the day before during an orientation exercise at Nyatsi Bush camp in the northwest. eNCA's Lindokuhle Xulu has been following the story. He spoke to one of the Parktown boys' high school pupils yesterday about the drowning incident. So he joins me now in studio to unpack all of this. So Lindo, firstly, let's just outline the reason why we don't have that interview on air, sensitivities around a child, right?
That's correct, Thulas. You'd remember that during the course of the week, last week and this week, there's been a lot of people that have been asking the question of what exactly happened. And as far as there's been debates around public interest as well as the ongoing investigations, what we have sought out to do is, of course, get a first-hand account of what exactly happened. And that is also in the interest of the public as well as those parents that have sent their children to school. And you find that there is an incident such as this one, and one of them returning with a body bag. So yesterday we were able to, after a lot of days working on this particular interview, we were able to interview one of the pupils about this particular incident. But the reason why we haven't flighted that interview was because it was a sensitive issue, and with discussions with the parents, we decided that it would be best not to play that to protect the child.
Absolutely. The best interests of a child are always paramount. Now tell me, without identifying the child then, locate this child for us in this particular situation, this tragic situation. This was a child who was part of the trip to Brits, and what story did they have to tell you?
Well, Thulas, first of all, when I spoke to that particular pupil, the first thing that I asked that pupil was to say, what was the mood when you guys were leaving? Because we understand that Enoch's uncle had said that they were quite excited about that trip. And in fact, I was asking in that bus while it was traveling to the northwest, what was the mood there? And he said that his account or version of things is that they were excited and they had been looking forward to exactly, seeing exactly what they would be doing at that particular camp. Now, I'll take you through some of the questions that I did ask that pupil following that. But one of the things I need to make clear is that they hit the ground running. When they got to that camp on Wednesday in the afternoon, they were told to go quickly change and then move on to an activity. They said they must be dressed in a clothing that would be comfortable for water activities. Now, one of the questions I asked was, what was the instruction ahead of those water activities? And I'll just read here from what he said. He said, we had an activity to help someone who was injured in our group. So far, so from there, we need to reach our final destination carrying this person. So they gave us instructions that we have to build a boat, but then we didn't have like ropes, so we used our shoelaces to make it stronger so that it could hold. So that's the first quote. He basically says that they were given an instruction now to say the water activities would entail that one of the people in the group would be in a stretcher and they would have to build a raft to carry them across that particular river. Now, without material of actually building that, and when we got there to the scene, we saw there were bamboo trees that were held together with some of the shoelaces.
You actually did see that, and you pointed that out on the day that the family and the Human Rights Commission went to the scene a few days ago. Tell me about then what this people's account is of after the events immediately after Enoch Mpiamzi goes missing. What did these people tell you about? When was it noticed? Did anyone raise the alarm among them? And what was the reaction? What's the story coming out of that?
That brings me to my second question that I asked him, just in terms of that section of what exactly was happening when those water activities were taking place. So they had built this raft and they were ready to go to this particular water. Now, when they went inside the water, he says that as we, and I'll quote this part, he says, as we went inside the river, it was still a safe side. But as you go deeper, it starts pulling. So when these waves came, they came strong. And so it also turned the boat. So when that happened, people started screaming because the river was deep. So when they started crying, help, help, I asked the two boys to come and assist us and to take the other boys out. So when we went inside, we were also dragged by the water and began begging for help. But then there was a boy who had helped us, and they took us, and we saw Enoch and another boy were being taken by the river, and they went through, and we thought that someone was going to help them on the other side.
Sure.
So this is the event now where the boat had capsized, or that little raft had capsized, and they were all panicking. Some managed to get out of the water. One of them is this boy I spoke to, who said after they got out of the water, they tried helping some of the boys that were still inside the water, and they had already been dragged by these waves, and they had to be helped the second time.
Yeah, and it's consistent with accounts of what happened, right? The rescue of the other boys,
Yes.
that actually the other boys also needed rescuing. But a key detail that you are revealing there, Lindo, is that actually these young boys saw Enoch Mpiamzi, at least according to this one boy's account, Enoch and another child being swept away by the current.
Thulas, because of the chronology in which, and a lot of information that I got, I'll move on to what exactly you are asking, which is when Enoch was moving, was being taken by the water. So in their heads, they thought that someone was going to help them amidst this chaos that had erupted. Someone was going to help them on the other side, because now they were too far away from where they were, which they were ashore by the other side of the river. And I'll go to another part where he actually tells us about what exactly, when they told the teachers about Enoch having been missing. So one thing he says is that they had regrouped them now after the incident, and they asked, where is anyone unaccounted for? And this is what he says. He says, they asked us, but then there was another boy who was with Enoch in the water. As he alerted the says that Enoch went missing, they ignored him, and it stayed until a while. When they came again and asked us what was wrong, we told them that Enoch was still missing. The Sir then decided to call the parents. Why didn't he? This is the part that he says after he has said that. He said, why didn't they listen to us when we were telling them Enoch was missing and that he had attended the trip?
Right. Lindo, thank you so much. Those details are absolutely critical. These are the accounts of the pupils who were actually there on the scene and in trying to piece together this story, this tragic story. Important work that you have done there. Look out for Lindokuhle Xulu's reporting here on eNCA on that particular story as he tries to piece together what happened out there on that camp. You are up front here on eNCA.